Okay, it's done. We did it. Finished up the meet. This video is hella late, but did the meet December 6th, and it is now December 20th. So 2 weeks post-meet, but I'm excited to kind of recap or summarize how the meet went, because it did go better than expectations. Even like, I don't know, like beyond expectations, like something that I couldn't have even, when I laid out whatever I thought the best case scenario was for each lift, I didn't really think that, like even best case scenario each lift, I didn't think I would get to the total I got to. So, starting off, let's just start off with how the, like, you know, chronological order, how the meet went. So I arrived, started warming up for squats, which honestly didn't feel amazing. Like, it felt okay, but I didn't totally have like that adrenaline that I thought I might have while warming up. I didn't feel bad, but I didn't feel amazing. But warmed up, got to the first heat, and I was, let's see, my first attempt was going to be at 410 roughly, which is not, you know, too heavy of a single for me. But the drama began as I was like on deck to go. Literally the next person, or actually they had just called my name. And as they were calling my name, one of the other competitors let me know that you're required to wear a shirt underneath the singlet, which I guess I should have known. And I'm pretty sure I read that in the rule book, but in my head, I knew that rule, and it was only for women in my head. And I was like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, women, you have to wear a shirt over the singlet to, you know, keep everything in. But that is not the case. It's for men and women. So literally, they call my name. I have no shirt on underneath my singlet. I have to go to my friend. He takes the shirt off of his back, gives it to me. I put it on, and then throw my singlet on over top, and they're calling my name over and over. And then with like, I don't know, 12 seconds left, I get under the bar and squatted. So like, didn't have really time to think. Like, I was just rushing to get a shirt, and then by the time I got it, I was rushing onto the platform. And didn't have time to think about like my setup or my form or anything like that. Just kind of went and did it. Went smooth. And then afterwards, I was really just fired up, because just like the adrenaline of the moment of like kind of panicking and not thinking I was going to make it to my lift in time. And so honestly, between that first and second lift, I was fired up for a while, and then I got so fired up to the point where like I needed to chill myself out. So like I went into the locker room and like took my earbuds out, and just sat down for a bit. But I got myself together, went up to my second attempt, which was at about 460, which was which was to get to a PR for this cycle. The previous gym PR was 455. So I did the 460, and it went pretty smooth. You'll see it in the video, but it's there was no real sticking points. It felt heavy, but it looked smooth. So I talked to my friend about it afterwards to see where we think that I should go up to next for the next attempt, and we ended up landing on 475. I did want to keep it like relatively conservative, because I wanted to make sure I hit whatever I was trying. I didn't want to fail. Not even so much for like the total, because my overall goal for the meet was to get a 1400 total, like minimum. And with a 460 squat in my back pocket, that was already pretty safe, like in terms of, unless the bench just went horribly, but it was already pretty safe. So it wasn't about the total, it was just about keeping the momentum, keeping my mind right, and then staying healthy. Like, I just did not want to hurt myself. So put 475 on the bar, and it moved pretty well. It was like a little bit slow coming out of the hole, but nothing crazy. I don't know. I haven't watched the video in a minute, but I'm thinking that like I might have had 480 in me. No, sorry. I did 475. So I might have had like 490 in me, another 15 pounds. maybe as high as like 500, but I don't think I was getting any really much beyond that, at least not at that moment. But who knows? I think getting beyond 500 at this point is just a matter of being consistent, maybe some slight tweaks to my form, and just getting stronger, just building up that base, getting bigger legs, building on my quads, hamstrings, glutes, all that. But that'll be something that I think about in a little bit as I start to plan for my 2026. So with squat out of the way, next was bench. And going into the meet, and still to this day, 2 weeks later, my left shoulder was a little tweaked, which is truly a shame because my left shoulder is actually my good shoulder. It's my right shoulder I dislocated last year. And then my left shoulder, out of nowhere, just started feeling off probably about a week before the meet. So I started warming up. I was just hoping that as I warmed up, my shoulder would feel fine because I didn't really lift like the week leading up to it. And it still felt the same. Like it just feels off. It's not so bad. My strength is still there, but something is wrong with it. But I was warming up. I could still feel that tweaking feeling. But whatever. What the hell? I had my opener set to 345 already. And yeah, it kind of felt slightly heavy, but it moved fine. But actually, this reminded me of something. I want to backtrack just a little bit. 460 was on squat, felt a little wobbly coming out. And then I spoke to my friend and we fixed up my form. And I realized that before I unracked it, I did not brace my core. And then on that second attempt, I was also running out of time. So on the third attempt, I really thought about my form. I braced my core and it made the attempt a lot easier. So anyways, back to bench. First attempt it felt a little bit difficult. Not difficult in the sense that I even came close to failure, but just difficult in the sense that like you want your opening single to be a little bit easier. But I really approached it super calmly. Like I didn't have adrenaline. Like bench press doesn't really scare me too much. And so there's not like a natural feeling of adrenaline. Like I kind of need to work up to it. So on that second attempt, I then moved it to 370. 370? Yeah, it was like 375 because I was wanting to match my gym PR, which was 375. But like the gym PR was without like a full pause. There's a pause, but it's maybe like a half tick less than what a pause would be at a meet. And for 375, I worked myself up. Like I had full of adrenaline. I had all my cues down. I knew I was going to have good form. And it moved so smoothly. And then again, with the third attempt, I was thinking, don't want to hurt myself, and I want to make sure I hit it. So I was slightly conservative with it, in part because 375 again was my max that I hit the gym. So it's like I don't really have a great idea of what I can do. So I just moved it to 385, and it moved so smoothly. I think you can see in the video like that I'm fairly certain that could have been 400 and it would have gone up. So I was super happy with that. And at this point, I started to realize that a really high total was kind of in play. So with the 475 squat and the 385 bench, I was at 860. And again, my goal going in was at least 1400, which I felt fairly, like I knew unless something was catastrophic, like I was going to get it. So in order to get to a 1400 total, all I needed at this point was 540 pounds on deadlift, which was my opener. My opener was actually, I think, 550. So warming up for deadlifts, it felt fine. It didn't feel amazing, but my back felt okay from after squatting. Like I didn't feel too fatigued. My legs felt fine. Nothing wrong with my knee or anything like that. But yeah, I felt okay, but not amazing. I just worked up to like 495, did it for a rep, and then onto my opener at 550. it moved better than it felt. And so from there I knew like I'm just going to try to PR. So my gym PR was 6:15, and I thought I might as well just go for that 6:20. So I bumped it up to 6:20. That, again, it felt better, or no, it looked better than it felt, but it looked really smooth. So I got 6:20. And again, going into deadlift, I had 860 total. So I started to realize there's a chance I can get to 1500, which was not something I could think of. And again, this was like, even with everything going well, I didn't think I would have a chance at 1500. But with 860 total in hand, what I needed to get to 1500 was a 640. So once I did 620, I basically just let my total dictate what my last attempt was going to be. Like, I didn't really care. I mean, obviously I care if I failed, but like, I was picking a number based on the total as opposed to based on a feeling. And so I actually ended up, instead of doing 640, I actually ended up doing like 645, because I wasn't totally sure with like the kilograms and sometimes there's like decimals. I wasn't totally sure if I was like at an 860 total or if I was actually at like 857.5 or something like that. But now in retrospect, I was actually at 860 total, but to be safe, instead of going for about 640, I went for 645, or actually I think like 646 on deadlift on my last attempt, and hit that. I was fully lathered in adrenaline, just lathered up, and it moved really well. Again, it felt hard, but it moved really well. There's no real sticking points. Like and when I say it felt hard, like that's mostly off the floor. As soon as it gets off the floor, like I know I'm gonna get it. And you can see that once it's off the floor, it just goes. There's no stopping point. So again, it's hard to say like what I think I could do, but there was more in there. It's safe to say there was more in there. Was it 10 pounds? Was it 20? I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if I could have gotten 660, which would have been 14 more pounds. I think that's reasonable. 660 is reasonable. Maybe slightly more. It would have been a grind for sure, but I think I could have got it. But that's not what I got. I got 646, and so with that, my total ended up being about 1505 point something or other. So overall, the meet went just way better than I could have imagined. And it just felt great to compete. It felt good to be strong. It felt good to have that, just to be in that environment and have all the adrenaline, like be able to show off the hard work and see it kind of pay off in that way. So I feel really excited. I'm going to continue powerlifting, I think, or I pretty much know, unless there's some weird injury that's just not going to heal. But right now I'm eyeing, there's like an Illinois state championship or something in March. I want to say March 20 something, March 21st, something like that. So I think that's going to be my goal. So that gives me, that's like 3 months from today. I haven't really started training yet since the meet. Again, it's been 2 weeks. I've been working out here and there. But I haven't like squatted, I haven't deadlifted. I actually benched for the first time on Thursday, and my shoulder is still a little tweaked. Like, again, the strength is there, but it doesn't feel great. So I don't want to keep pushing it. But hopefully that heals pretty soon. And then as long as I can start training seriously by beginning of January, so essentially today's the 20th of December, so essentially like 2 weeks, as long as I can start training hard by then, I think I'm down to do the March meet. Yeah, and I think I was just trying to think of if I want to talk about like what I kind of want to do going into that. I don't even know, I don't even have like a plan specific, like in terms of a training plan laid out. But I think I'll get one out, and then like I'll probably record that, like the video going into that, and then probably just make another series of videos going into that meet. But I think just sitting here today for that meet, I want to say that the goal is to get about 1550 for my total. And I would say that's a relatively conservative goal. That's 45 additional pounds at the same weight class, of course. 45 additional pounds, which is a lot of weight to increase your max by. But if you bear in mind the fact that I think I left weight on the table for basically all of my lifts, in particular squat and dead and bench, where I think squat, I think I had like another 10 pounds minimum. Let's just keep it conservative and say I had 10 pounds. Bench, I think I had 15 pounds. And then deadlift, let's say I had another 10 pounds. So that's 10, 15, 10. So that's 40, what am I saying? 45 pounds. 10, what did I say? 10, 15, and 10. Yeah, so 45 pounds. So assuming that's all correct, like that essentially means that I have a 1550 total in me already, or that I had it already a couple weeks ago. Of course, that's all theoretical and you have to actually do it, but like in theory, I already have that strength. So I think 1550 is a good goal, because there's also the factors of like if you squat a little harder, then maybe your deadlift is a little weaker. Like if I add 20 pounds to my squat, then maybe I can only add 5 to my deadlift. You know, things like that. So I think 1550 is a pretty reasonable goal. And I think it should be like my minimum goal, like my low case. And then I want to say my high case is 1600 just for the sake of being round. But I mean, by March, I really don't think that there's a chance I can get there. So I don't know if it makes sense to have a high case. That's something that is kind of, I don't want to say impossible, but pretty unlikely. But let's say 1580 is my high case. I think 1580 is possible, because 1580 would be and I have an idea of kind of what I want to do. Like I want to be able to do 500 on squat. I want to get 400 on bench. And again, these are like kind of minimums. Like it would be great to get 500 on squat. That's a 25 pound increase. That would be pretty sweet. But it'd be great to get 510. And then 400 on bench, it'd be great to get 410. But 500 and 400, that put me at a 900 total. And then if I do, 650 on squat, on deadlift, that would get me to 1550, which I think is, again, pretty reasonable. That's an additional 25 on squat, an additional 15 on bench, and an additional 5 on deadlift. And then, like I was saying, my stretch goal, 1580, let's say I do 510 on squat. And then I do a little bit more. Let's say I do 405 on bench. And then what would I need on deadlift to get to 1580? So then I did 660 on deadlift. That'd get me to 1575. I think that's about the high end. So preliminarily, I'm going to say 1550 to 1580 is the goal. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to training with purpose and documenting the process, and just having fun with the training, having fun with competing, and like meeting new people and all that. It's gonna be a good time. I think that's all I've got. Yeah, that's all I've got. I'm gonna make another video at some point about what, like my training, like what I'm going to do in particular to train for this, which will be a little different from this previous meet. And then another video, I think, talking about things that I've learned from the meet and from the lead up to the meet. So things I wish maybe I did differently leading up to it, things I wish I did differently, on meet day or post meet day. And then maybe even thinking about discussing things that I think I did correctly. So just an overall review, essentially, of how my prep went and picking out the good and the bad and making sure that I'm making note of all this so that I can put it into practice for the next meet. So, the meet is done. I am now officially the world's strongest CPA. You can't prove otherwise, so that's that. Adios.
There we go. I mean, with seconds to and what is Ken think? Ken, what do you think? The platform. Let's go, David. Good job, David. Excellent work. Robert, that means you are 4 up. White lights, nice job. Justin. 295 on Buster.